I don't know if you can see this. Alright, this is the little mounting bracket right here. But there is a gap. It doesn't fit flat, so it keeps trying to pick my distributor up. Oh, that allows play to get into the whole thing. So I'm going to beat on this for just a little tiny bit, see if I can't get this thing to sit flat. Well, maybe that took a 32nd of an inch out of it. Wasn't much, but you know, I think I could see it. I didn't take a video of it, but it's a little tiny bit tighter. Anyway, I had to redo the timing. Not entirely sure what the total advance is, because like I always have issues with this thing, it just bounces around so much you can't set total timing. You have to kind of take a guess by setting the idle timing. Well, I'm packed up and ready for the trip down to the park today. Fine day out there. It was a little bit overly full on the oil. Took some out, actually took too much out, so I ended up having to put some in, but that's okay, whatever. This particular distributor has ever so slightly a bigger advance range than the 009 did. It also advances past 3,000 RPMs. So what I've kind of realized is that when I get to about 3,100, I've got the right amount of advance. Like I like 29 degrees, but I push it to 3,400 RPMs, and all of a sudden I'm at like 31 or 32 degrees advance. So it's got a different range, so I expect to get different results for the mileage, although I would still be happy with about 29. I've got good old reliable up there in the front seat just in case something happens back here. I've got my tools, but I don't expect to have any problems. I just got to go fill up and get a couple of pibs for the road. We'll call that 9.6, and I had the bugs. It's just crazy number of bugs. Look at this smear right here. I couldn't even get that one loose. So anyway, I think it's clear enough for me to make the drive without too many issues. Yeah, right up there is where I got off last time, and put old Mr. Furlex, old reliable, in. We're just cruising along, no problem today. Just about time to get off. Haven't had a single hiccup. Coming into Strong City. Hey, there's park entrance just up ahead. I was getting on 177 here. I noticed that it appears a wire has popped on my fuel gauge, or the fuel gauge has failed. I don't know. Highs are supposed to be about 90 today, which is not bad for August. And the ranchers pick up the cows usually at the end of July, so hopefully it's just me out there today. Alright, at the end of a long highway run, I just got here. Turned it off. Okay, let's crank it up real quick. Neutral. Starts right up, right? And no dieseling. Perfect. Well, it's not the wiring. Nothing came loose right there. So, you know, it's old. They don't last forever. So maybe something up there at the gauge busted. Alright, back here at the business end, I did take, as I said, some oil out of it. So it yeah, it's not oozing oil or anything, so that's good. Worked well. Worked really well. I am much closer to getting out of here on time today. It's a good time to walk back on the trails though. I found 4 Texas horned lizards. So you saw a couple of the photos. Pretty fun. They're pretty cool little dudes. A lot of fun to catch. Anyway, super thirsty. Gonna grab a drink on the way out of Strong City, I think. All right, let's give her a shot. Power on, neutral. Off we go. All right, check it out. The gas gauge is working again. Absolutely lovely. Coming down the big hill, heading into Lawrence. It's a nice evening, so I just figured I'd run over to the gas station and fill up today instead of trying to do it later. Again, got this one. It's expensive. I'm not going to do any more trips. I think I'll take the Suzuki next time. I think I've got enough on this guy for the long distance trips so to last me for the rest of the year. Okay, 8.115 gallons. Alright, if I'm not mistaken, that works out to about 27.4. So that's not particularly good, but that's my first cut at that particular distributor. So I think it's a little overly advanced, but it seemed to run really, really well, and the electronic ignition was just spot on. It didn't do anything bad. Well, when I came back from the trip, I was a little bit disappointed with the mileage there. So based on prior trips, I know that the car doesn't like very much advance, so I figured that I probably had too much advance. So I went down and I took some video, and here's a little piece of the video. I had to see essentially what my baseline advance is at idle. That's what this one is right here. And the center line of the case is very close to the right hand edge of that marker, so I'm right at about 10 degrees of advance at idle. And of course I needed then to figure out what I was doing at speed, and I figured that this distributor advances further than my 009, and it's got scatter, so I'd like to see how much scatter it has as well. So I came down somewhere, I don't know, let me see, somewhere around in this area, something like that. And from those other videos, you know that I think it likes about 29 degrees of advance most of the time, and that one's over 35 degrees. That's a little bit too much advanced. But most of the time, let me get to a spot here where it's doing some good. There we go. That's not bad. Well, that's pretty chaotic. Whoosh, boy, there's some bad ones there. There were places in this where I was going well over 3,400 RPMs. But, as I'm trying to keep the spotlight on this, if it's hard to hold your hand out on the throttle while simultaneously attempting to keep the light where it's supposed to be and maintain 3,500 RPMs. I think that's a little bit too far past it. It was back down in here somewhere. It was a little bit better. But this is just too much advance. But anyway, over here on the spreadsheet, if I can point this out to you, at some point I picked out a place where I was pretty darn sure I was doing about 3,400 RPMs, and I simply read off timing marks. Like that one there would be about 31, so I would put in, and I just went one after another, filling them in until I got 50 of these things in. The median ended up being 31, the average is 32.2, which means every now and then you get one of those sparks that's just like that one, way off of where everything else is. So yeah, it was way too much advance. So there's scatter in here, and I've got too much advance built into it, so it's I'm not going to get good mileage until I, one, get rid of the scatter, and two, I got to back it down. That baseline advance, let me see here. Yeah, that needs to be, for this distributor, closer to 8, 7.5 to 8. I think 7.5 would probably be pretty good. Not too many more trips If some of the local people decide to drive down to Tallgrass in October, I will probably take the Beetle in October, but what do we got? A couple months to go before that. So, anyway, I'll do more stuff later. I'm going to get back to that cooling stuff. I think next time I'll do cooling and the camshaft and how all that stuff relates. Anyway, like I say, more later. Bye.